Yo, what's going on, my football heads, my degens, my fellow card collectors, and everybody else on YouTube? It's your bromy, the Gale, back at it again with another Draftkings Reignmakers video. Let's get into it.
I really want to thank you for taking a little time to hang out with me a little bit, because I'm a massive fan of Draftkings. So this is, didn't realize that we had, community members that were like part of Draftkings, and it's pretty amazing to me because I've seen Draftkings grow into this behemoth of a company now that touches all of sports betting, which, God, I never thought that's where it was going to go down the line, but looking back, it makes sense. So I would love it, man, if you could take a second and give us an intro of who you are, Royal C, and maybe we'll jump into what your role is at Draftkings. And in a little bit, I would love to jump down the rabbit hole of what DK Reignmakers is, because I'm having a blast with it. I've hit up a bunch of friends. I've let everyone know that can claim their free pack, and it's been exciting. I'm hopeful for tonight as well, Monday night, but I know you can't bet. But still, man, if you could just start off there, I've thrown like 10 things at you.
No, all good. That's a great way to get the space started. But quick little thing about me, I've been at DraftKings since 2017, basically before sports betting was legal. So I totally get what you're saying by that. Like when I started, I was playing DraftKings back in 2013. Just like, oh man, I need to make some lineups just to win some contests. And when DraftKings hit me up, I was just like, I hit the career GPP. That's what I legit felt like. I hit the career GPP when DraftKings hit me up for a job out here. And now I'm the manager of content over at DK Nation. If anybody's curious about what DK Nation does, the link is in my bio. But basically, we cover all free sports betting, fantasy news, and all that kind of content. I have a pretty big team under me, and I'm really happy to just kind of build content. That's always been a space that I've loved. I've been building content since I can remember. I remember I used to create sites and do podcasts that like barely anybody listened to, and now we got millions of users checking our stuff out, and on a platform that has such a big, wide space, and it's a global company. DraftKings is a legitimate global company, and that's kind of a little bit about DraftKings and whatnot. But about me, I mean, I've been into crypto since 2017. I was flipping crypto kitties back in the day as my first NFT, and the first NFTs, we've all learned, we always buy the tops sometimes. So it's funny to look back on it now, and you're just like, wow, just the experience and learning and all that. But just been really, really immersed in the space. I got back into it, especially big with Top Shot and whatnot, but then doing that whole PFP run in 2021. So it's been a great ride. Honestly, it's been a great ride, and now just happy all those experiences and opportunities that I was able to learn. I saw how people did their drops, or what their messaging was, and how they got out there, and what the thing is. And that's the biggest thing about Reignmakers, is that it's super complex, but at the core, it's very easy. The way I've tried to really explain it to people is like, this is season-long fantasy meets daily fantasy in Web3.
Yeah, bro, the way I explain it to people is like, imagine when you were a kid and you opened up a pack of cards, and then you got to build a team that played that weekend off that pack of cards, and then you won prizes. Like, That's how I've explained it to so many people, because really, like, that's what I always wanted basketball and baseball and trading cards to be, really, was like some kind of game beyond it. Because I'll tell you right now, I've got boxes and packs of all over my desk right now. What do I do with them? I open them and I put them down. But with this, I open your packs. It has a whole visual component. I get all excited. Maybe I get a rare. Maybe I get an elite. Maybe I get something really, amazing. Maybe I get an elite kicker from Chapin, and then he got on IR. So,
Yeah, right.
But at the most basic level, like, you get to play these cards, and I think that's one of the coolest things about Reignmaker, man. So, how did you guys come up with Reignmaker? Was that something you had developed for a while, or is that something that you kind of felt inspired by when you saw the NFT craze?
Well, the DraftKings marketplace has been around since about August of last year. The first drop was the Brady drop, and honestly, I thought that was a great introduction into the space, in the manner that, autographs and big Hall of Fame players kind of going together and having autographs on the blockchain. I thought that was a really good concept. But I think from the co-founder, Matt Kalish, the vision really came together after that, and seeing like, okay, like, what is DraftKings amazing at? What is DraftKings? What are they made of? And it's fantasy is at the core of where it all started. So going back into that, and then bringing together the aspects of Magic the Gathering or Madden Ultimate Team, and bringing those pieces together to this game is what makes it really, really fun. Because you could say, hey, I have a Jamar Chase card. You're like, well, Jamar Chase is probably going to be good for a while. Like the best part about DraftKings Reignmakers is that like there's always thoughts about utility and future use and trying to make it so that it's valuable to the holder. And it's not only, you're not looking at this like, sure, PFP is cool, and sure, it's cool to look at marketplace, move the trends up and down, but what's most important is having fun playing the game. You get a sweat watching the games. And the normal DraftKings daily fantasy, the way you build your lineup, you have to build multiple positions. Here, you just got to get 5 together, get 5 NFTs together, and you enter for free. You don't have to buy into like the Millie Maker or any other contest. Once you have a lineup that you like, especially, use it in the contest, and you don't have to pay anything for that.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the cooler parts of it, actually, was you got, like, I'm going to kind of walk you guys through my experience of it, right? And I don't know if this is a common experience or if I'm like a true degen who's been waiting for this all my life. But I found Rainmakers. I opened my core pack. I bought the next, like, 3 or 4 packs that you guys suggest on the thing. And then I decided, do I want to play in the like, core tier? Do I want to go to the rare? Do I want to go to the elite? Do I want to go to the Rainmaker tier? That shit was not in my price range at all. So I kind of figured out what my price range was and realized that as you go up in tiers, there's actually less competition, so your odds become better. Yep. So that was a really cool thing. And then you guys blew my mind this week when you're doing a Web3 week 3 giveaway. Like, mind you, I wish I had Rainmaker because you're giving away a Bored Ape and a Punk. Bro.
I mean, honestly, I thought that was like a great way to bring it together, because this is like, it's still connected to the whole scene, like, sure, it's on DraftKings and you need to play on DraftKings, but we're all connected on the blockchain together and bringing in these amazing projects all the way down. Just, I did the Subduck space just earlier with the new announcement that we just had today with them, but like, it's all the way down to, it does the community. You could win a Lazy Lion, you could win a Doodle, you could win a Punk, like, and whatever community you feel like being a part of too. Like, that was an opportunity there, and it wasn't priced out. Like, sure, the Bored Ape was the Rainmaker one, but you could win NFTs at the core level too.
Yeah, no, I went in for the MFR, for the Alien Friends. And you know what I like about this too is you'll open your packs, you'll get some ones that you need. I've won a lot of packs the last 2 weeks. I don't even understand how, but they keep showing up, so I'm stoked for them. And then more players, so each week I'm just kind of throwing more and more teams in. And some of them are only like, you just have to have the top 500 team and you win something cool, like a pack or something. I love that. And then when I watch, bro, I've been watching your Rainmaker content like crazy on YouTube, all of it. And when your founder said that there was going to be something you could do to the next season, that's when I decided, like, okay, I can fuck with this. Like, I really want it. So can you give any insight to what that process is going to be yet? Because, like, maybe you can, I don't know.
No, so the really cool thing, to kind of set the stage, is DraftKings is a publicly traded company. So the things that we have to do and the way that DraftKings has to perform is very above bar from, let's say, a normal or a random NFT project that just pops up as a free mint. This is not, like, you cannot get in a situation where everything is so legally compliant. We have to keep our fantasy football, our fantasy legal claims and everything with that. So that's just something to really set the stage for people to understand, like, this information to find out about future utility is on the DraftKings Rainmakers landing page. So it is available to everybody, and there's so much information. As you mentioned earlier, free starter pack as well is available to everybody that signs up. But the future utility, to go back to your question, it's really focused on the fact that you can either burn your player cards. You're like, hey, you know what? I don't like this guy, or this guy retired, whatever you feel about it, you can burn it. And you can be able to get points towards that. You get a rebate. There's a franchise score. And that franchise score is a really big part of kind of the rebates and benefits that you get as a player. But then also there will be contests in the future for just these Genesis cards, just these cards that were made in the first season. So you'll be able to play still in contest with them. You'll be able to trade them in, burn them, and then also they get added. Let's say you just hold on to it, like, oh, well, this guy didn't make the cut, I couldn't use him in a lineup. It still counts towards your franchise score. So there's like 3 pieces of the utility really coming together.
I love that. I need to do more research, because all that I keep doing is throwing a ton of lineups together and losing by like half a third of a point. If you guys could work on making a competition where if you get last place, you get something, because I come in last pretty consistently.
Honestly, it's funny that you mentioned that, because like I mentioned that to somebody just the other day too. I was like, how cool it is to like reward the people that are like at the bottom of the curve, like at the other side of it. 'Cause everybody's like, oh, I'm a winner, but like, hey, somebody's got to lose if somebody's winning. So like, why don't we flip it? And the lowest score is the one that you win with. Because honestly, like that's the thing about cards and cracking packs in general. If you look about normal cards, like if you open a crack a normal cards pack, you're not going to get, let's say you got a baseball pack, right? Are you going to get Mike Trout in every single card? Are you going to get Patrick Mahomes in every single card pack that you get? No, sometimes you're going to get whatever cards. And that's the great utility. It was announced a few weeks ago, but we're here now, week 4. Now you get to use kickers. Now you get to use defensive players. There's a deep roster format. So if you crack those packs and you're like, well, I got a kicker, you mentioned it. You're like, well, hey, I'm here to tell you now you can use those players on DraftKings Reignmakers. So like that's the evolution of the game. It continues to grow and it's always announced in advance. So you're like, hey, maybe I bought this. Like the first week we had all Genesis collection. What does the Genesis collection represent? That was the first ever drop of players on DraftKings Marketplace. So that provides you a Genesis only contest. So just like you mentioned, future utility too, but it's really cool because there's always all these other new promos that continue to come up to support the entire team.
Yeah, this is what I kind of wanted Top Shot to be, but it wasn't, and so I'm loving the fact that you've come up. And I already loved DraftKings, but when I found Rainmakers, I was like, holy shit, DraftKings actually gets me. Like, you guys understand how a lot of us tick, and it's very interesting because being able to open up packs, collect players, that's a whole fun extra dynamic. But then, like you said, having them to play in the contest, I don't need to buy in the contents once I have these cards, right? That's kind of like my access point, and then
Exactly.
in the future, you're saying there might be opportunities to play again. So I'm personally having a blast. And now I'm curious, what do you think? Let's jump to the game tonight, man. Just real quick. Who do you think's winning, Dallas or New York?
I mean, the way that I'm gonna have to side with the home team, the team that's a little bit more healthier. Sure, they're dealing with some drama with this Kenny G situation, but Saquon has a chance to really show off after that kind of poor performance in week 2. Cooper Rush, sure they got that win against the Bengals, but the Bengals gave that game away. I think this is an opportunity for Saquon to really impose himself here.
Bro, I have built so many lineups for tonight that I have every stack possible at this point.
Nice.
And there's going to, and the worst part is that one person will catch a fucking 25-yard pass 5 minutes into the game, and it's going to ruin my whole night. And then I'm just like, well, it's over,
Yeah.
But
what has been your strategy? I'd like to know, just as a disclaimer to anybody listening, I'm an employee of DraftKings, so I'm unable to play, but obviously I can promote and talk about it. But I'm curious about your strategy about main slates versus showdown slates. Like, has there been something that you've considered? I know you're opening packs and buying off the marketplace, but what has been your look on that?
I think I'm DraftKings' favorite sort of consumer in that I'm not like, of course, I would love to win. Of course. Let's preface with that. But for me, it adds, as Kevin Hart says in his commercial, a few more bumps per game, right? And so I like to do all the showdowns that I can. I love to throw like 10 to 15 entries into every millionaire competition for every, Thursday, Sunday, Monday. I'm dreading the fact that NBA is coming around the corner because that's a lot more that I'll be doing.
Yep, I feel you on that, man.
But like, it is one of those things where I will spend a good amount of time consuming my daily DFS information, getting an understanding of who's healthy, who's not. I like to throw in these really contrarian $1 million, like I throw in the wildest lineups. And the shit that drives me crazy, and I tell my girlfriend this all the time, of the winning lineup, I'll always have like majority of them except for 2 people, where I'll find all those weird sleepers, but I miss the like most obvious person on the board, and that seems to be my MO. So then I personally like the showdowns more, where I could just pick a team, and then I just go crazy with the combos, bro. Like as many combos as I can afford to put together for that game, basically.
That's sick. That's a really cool way to think about it, because the way that DraftKings Rainmakers football works is that because there's only 5 positions that you need to fill, especially for a showdown. You have a captain and you have just 4 or 5 positions that you need to fill. You can have, let's say your collection has 20 cards. It's 4 lineups that you can build for this. And there's been a lot of people that I've seen, especially in the Discord, that have won with like defensive cards, that have won with like zeros in their lineup too. So like because we're so early in the game, I think that there's another different opportunity to
Oh
think
yeah,
about too.
bro. This is the early adopters reward. This is why my girlfriend and I are both on it because we realized, and we even realized it from week 1 to week 3, how many more players there were. Because
Yeah.
week 1 we were just throwing in stupid lineups. Half of our players weren't even playing, but that was enough to get you the reward or the prize or
Yep.
whatever it was. So now, like, I will make sure, even if I don't think my team has a chance, I'll put in 4 or 5, like whatever the requirement is, I'll put it in. Because who knows? Maybe all of a sudden those 5 people end up getting touchdown. You never know. It's any given
Yep.
Sunday kind of thing.
High variance. Football is such a high variance sport. You mentioned basketball. I feel like it's a little bit less variance on that, but with football, you have to think about it. Like last week, Stephon Diggs was this hype guy coming off that 3 touchdown performance, and Josh Allen and the Bills lost. It's like, wait, Lamar Jackson's been going off. Did you have Lamar Jackson? It's like you look at the contest, not even 1% of people in the millionaire had Lamar Jackson, and he's been going so ham.
So this is the other problem I have with playing so many lineups in Rainmaker is I spread myself too thin. And maybe you can explain this to me because I don't get it. Sometimes when I'm building my lineups, it seems like some of my players aren't available for whatever reason.
Yeah, so you have to make sure that you're setting it up because are you using superstars, which are important to the game. So there's 17 superstars in the game, and in those 17, you want to make sure that you can only have one in your lineup. And let's say you have a superstar that's in the core, you can't use them in elite, for example. You can't use them in the rare. You have to use them in that same level or down. So that's the first thing to think about if you're using superstars. And then the other portion of it is that it's the category and the options availability for the rarity tier. So that's kind of where it is. And I know there's been some discussions internally, and that's been some consumer feedback that we've seen. And definitely looking at like fixing those or giving you a pop message of like, hey, this is the reason why or stuff like that. But it's first to start off is the superstars and then the rarity to connect with it in the right contest.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm also realizing now I have a bunch of superstars in the core, but nothing in the higher level. So it definitely limits your playability. But it's really fun because I've also realized that you guys have kind of structured in each tier multiple opportunities to win cards and packs, which is awesome because basically that gives you more players, and there aren't a ton of players in the actual packs in general. Do you know how many overall players you guys have in circulation right now?
Well, the last drop, which was the current one that's live on the site, which is our in season one, there's a checklist that I put on DK Nation. It's 518 players in that checklist. So that's the amount of players, my understanding, that are in circulation. And
Mainly
you
the
can
reason I ask is because I need you guys to put the Rams receiver Skowronek. He needs. I can't
right?
find him,
He
and
needs to get in there.
I need him on there, bro. It'll help.
Yep.
This has been a fun chat, bro. I really appreciate you coming up and spreading some wisdom on Rainmakers. I myself am sitting here building more lineups out for the rest of the night. I know the game starts relatively soon, so I'm excited. Uh, I feel so bad for the Cowboys. Every time I just think about them, it makes me sad.
Yeah,
But
it
that's a whole
does.
different
But
story.
I was really big on the Eagles coming into the year, just based on their schedule, based on the trade, based on their line. Like I was really, really high on the Eagles. So really cool to see that they're doing work right now.
Bro,
Go
Hertz
cancer.
is just killing folks out here, just dominating.
And that's what you need. I mean, honestly, like that Philly team, I was looking back and I was looking at some of the quarterbacks that they've had in the past. It's like, sure, Carson Wentz had that one magical year, but Nick Foles is the one that completed the job. But
Oh, that's
outside
a
of
good
that,
point.
like, but outside of that, like, whenever they've spent like high draft picks on QBs or whatever, like, they either stay around for a really long time, like McNabb. Vic was not a draft pick, but he came over after his situation, and he stayed around for a minute, but like this is a chance here for the Eagles to like build something that can last and be a contender for a while. And honestly,
Bro,
I think the Sixers for the same thing too. I think the Sixers have that opportunity too. So like all of Philly, I'm a Cali guy, so like I'm not rooting for Philly, but just the way they got their team set up, both their NBA and NFL teams.
yo, so I was going to ask you actually, what is your favorite sport? Because working at Draftkings, I'm going to imagine you're a sport fan.
Yeah, man. I mean, basketball is my favorite sport. I grew up in LA, so Lakers fan. I met Kobe back in the day, so all the way LA 100% basketball. And when basketball gets back, I mean, I'll be doing a bunch of different content. Last year, I was on NBA League Pass. We were doing weekly shows on League Pass. I don't know if people saw, but there were some commercials on DraftKings during the finals. I was in some of those commercials. So like basketball is my blood. It is. I just love hooping. I love playing ball. I love talking about ball, everything. But football, honestly, like football to me is the more fun sport to like bet or try to create lineups for, because you kind of like it happens or it doesn't. Whereas basketball, it's a missed shot. You know what I mean? Like there's so much different stuff that go into basketball. So like both of them,
Bro,
I love
don't
basketball.
even. I can't even go down the rabbit hole of basketball and DraftKings. I'm looking forward to it because I know it's just around the corner. But Jesus, that's gonna take so much of my time.
Yeah,
But
I can't. I legit can't do
bro,
it. Like I just want to like focus on the betting aspect of it.
I think the super amazing difference between like the football and the basketball component too is like football, you have time to prepare. You have a few days to anticipate, to do some research, to do some
Yep, yep,
projections.
yep.
Basketball is like, dude didn't play today because fucking he's tired, and that just screwed up your whole lineup because now you didn't check and Joel's sitting or whatever like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. Not only that, but it's like the big thing about basketball now too is like who's coming in, who's subbing in for that person, and like you got to make sure to have them in your lineup. Otherwise, you're toast on that one.
Well, that's the thing with basketball too. Is like in football, when they're second, third string, it pretty much means something for the most part. In basketball, second, third string doesn't really mean shit. Like, oh, this
Yep.
dude's a baller. He just came out and just fucked shit up, and he's
Yeah,
waiting for
yeah,
that
yeah.
opportunity. So
Exactly, exactly. Whereas the NFL is such a team game that like if you take away like Devontae Adams off the Raiders, it's like, well, you just saw this week Matt Collins went off, and it's like, wait, who had Matt Collins? What did you do? Oh,
I did on
nice, nice,
every fucking team. Sorry.
nice. You're good. That's the way though. That's the energy. Like that's what sports and building lineups and making bets and all that's all about. Is like that
Yo,
energy that you just
it adds
showed.
so much more value and fun to my Sundays because I love Sundays with my girlfriend. We watch football. It's a nice, relaxing day. Like yeah, I do my half baked spaces and we're doing our thing and we're vibing with the community. But like football's dope. It's a way to disconnect from reality, have a little fun. NFL Red Zone,
Yeah.
my absolute shit. I love
Oh
Chris
yeah.
Hansen. Like love that shit. And then on
7
top of
hours
it,
of commercial free.
bro, yeah, I what a wild story that man's had just as a career. That's a whole separate thing. But adding DraftKings makes it so much more enjoyable for me. It really does. And whether or not I put $20, $100, $300, it doesn't matter. I never go more than 300 in a day because I got to have my limits.
Yep,
But
yep. That's what it's all
at,
about.
at the same time, I'm like, it makes it more fun for me. I've never won a lot of money. I see one of my buddies in here. I remember last year he won like a basketball tournament or something, and it makes it like, oh shit, I can't believe you did that. It's such a big achievement when you do actually win. So,
Yep.
I really hope someday I get to share that and be like, I hit the millionaire maker, or I get to go to one of those tournaments or whatever. Because
Yep.
it's not for not trying, bro.
But that's the honestly, that's the way when you look at it. That's the mentality you need to have. Like most of the time, you're probably going to lose. You're supposed to have fun. You're building lineups. You're trying to crunch it together because what it gives you is that experience. When you're in the groove and all the points hit, you're going to hit big. And $300, honestly, like when I think about that, like for entering contests, that's actually a sizable possibility to win a good amount of money with that because you're not playing. Sure, you might be able to play in like the $5 contest or whatever, but if you're putting $300 down, like you're playing $20 contest, chance for a $50 contest there, like that. Those are some good odds in winning there. You mentioned earlier about the Rainmakers, but you mentioned fantasy too, putting some funds up, and it's like, yeah, dude, like even that much, you have a chance.
It's just kind of fun because like at a certain point too, because you guys have both. I like that I get to go back and forth. I'm like, cool. I opened up a few packs. I got my kicks out of that. I put my lineups together, but like also I want to go to DraftKings and put together the team that I actually want. You know what I
Yep,
mean? Because like I'm not gonna buy like a Lamar whatever rare card. Those are thousands of dollars.
yep,
But I'd be willing to take $200-300 and bet it on the game, and see
yep.
where that goes. So I'm excited to see how this continues to roll out and to see how people receive it because I've talked to a lot of apes who fuck with it, man, and they play it on the regular. I don't know anyone who's won, but I don't know anyone who really seems to give a shit because it adds so much more fun to the experience of watching football. So I don't know how you guys captured that magic, but I'm here for it.
Honestly, that's like such a great way to look at it because, like, when you, for example, when you play season long with your homies, you're in a draft, you do your draft with your boys or whatever, and you have this thing for the season that you have, and you have your record, you play them head to head. Let's say you end up missing the playoffs. Do you get anything back for that? Like most are paid leagues now with your boys, anyways. You're not gonna join a free one, but like what are the odds of you getting something back? But like with Rainmakers, you can literally keep making lineups every single week And if you're like, oh, well, I'm happy with my collection, like keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, because there's some like an alpha that I found, especially for the showdown contest. You will see that these cards will have to be able to hold more value because there's specific teams. Like, for example, we saw that the Thursday lineup for the Bills, and they played on Monday the following week. So you can still play these guys in showdown contests and then kind of jump around to different showdowns to really kind of get a different feel for your collection. And that's kind of how I've honestly done it. And then obviously throw it into the Sunday slate. But you mentioned these prizes. There's featured star players every single week for it. A couple of weeks ago, we had Jalen Hurts you could win in a core contest. Like if you won a Jalen Hurts core contest, you're gonna be like, yeah, my collection is dope now. Like you're gonna keep playing him every single time.
Bro, it's so much fun too because like I've gotten packs. I got a Josh Allen, a Lamar. And like as soon as you get them, you're fucking high fiving whoever's in the room. You're so
Yeah.
stoked, and like that's the kind of shit you need when you're spending money and you are gambling in a sense, but like not in a sense, you fucking are. But it's what every NFT is, but at least you have very set real expectations. I'm buying this thing for this game, and I have this period of time to play this game. Second season, I may be able to use these tokens, these game tokens, in a different way, and that's the kind of thought that gets me continuously spending money here, guys. Like, I asked you to do the spaces with me because I'm a gigantic fan of just this project and Draftkings, and I'm a gigantic degen, and like most of the people I talk to in this space, we cut our teeth with gambling, playing poker, playing blackjack, something,
Yep.
right? And then so adding the sports betting to it, it's just the most obvious thing. Now seeing you guys being like the host of Thursday Night Football and you're just like the biggest thing in the world, I'm blown away. The fact that you guys still have the ability to be in the culture with us, talking about things because you're in the weeds with us, actually know what you're doing. Like the fact that you're giving away a punk and a subduck, like there's a range of it. It's not just like, oh, one or the other, right?
Yep.
I'm actually curious. How do you guys distribute those NFTs if someone wins it? Because, I'm like, I would love to just imagine I'm going to win that MFer. So how does that process work out of curiosity?
Well, after you win it, then you get contacted by the support team, and then they reach out and ask for your wallet, and then it gets transferred over to your OpenSea wallet.
Yeah, super simple. Makes sense.
Yep,
I know.
exactly. I
Well,
want you to win an MFR. Like that's part
I
of the
want to win
culture.
it all. Honestly, I'm in so many contests at this point that I start to get a little confused with how many things I put in because I have way too much fun with this. This is like my sweet little personal, hey, this is for me. This is the money I'm spending on me. No one can have any say on it. This is little Jason time and I get to fuck around. And so the fact that you guys understand the culture, you're part of it is amazing. I am curious though, how did you guys decide on these tiers? Because the prices are quite a bit different.
So the tiers were just kind of trying to break it out in terms of like providing an opportunity for everyone in different price ranges. So when you look at the tiers, you're able to play multiple cards of different rarities in different tiers. So I think the way that it was set up was like, okay, obviously there needs to be a whale one, which is the Reignmaker one. But what if you're unable to get to that, but you still have a decent sized bankroll? Legendary cards are still viable. And then the next one, the level down from that, is elite. And elite, the great thing about that one is that it has the biggest prize pool every single week. So that's kind of like DraftKings has guaranteed $30 million in cash and prizes for this NFL season. That's guaranteed. That's not something that can change. It's already in writing. It's already been screenshotted. It's on the roadmap. All of that. $30 million about right there, guaranteed in cash and prizes. But the elite one is the one contest every single week that has the biggest one. So this past week, they gave away $100,000 to the person that won first place in the elite one. So the way you look at it, Rainmaker, the top one. If you can't make it to Rainmaker, get to Legendary. The one under that's Elite. That one has the biggest contest every week. And then Core and Rare are the ones that are there that are more affordable, and those are the ones that kind of like are more have more entrance in those contests as well. But giving you an option like, okay, what if I'm able to afford a rare more than I can do a core? So like it gives you a chance to win the bigger prizes as well. Because obviously, when you're playing a contest with a lot of people and it's the lowest level on it, it's the prizes are not as accessible. It's more about getting everybody to have a chance to win something. Whereas at the top level, you're getting these big dollar prizes that are like this week a CryptoPunk was given away in the Rainmaker tier.
I'm gonna have to get more elite cards. I've opened a few rare packs and gotten a few elite cards in them. The first one was a defensive player. Did not understand that one defensive player equaled the defense of a team,
Yep.
and I ended up selling him super duper cheap. The other guy I have is a rookie who's on IR. I have a kicker who's on IR, and I have a quarterback rookie who's on IR, and I have Kirk
Oh, man.
Cousins. So
Okay.
my pack opening skill, and so this is what draws me to go back and forth. Where I'm like, all right, maybe I'm not going to open a pack for a week. I'm going to come back to it, and we'll go try my luck over here. But I also like that people have it an individual marketplace. So like, let's say I want to sell these guys and buy some rare cards, I can do that because maybe Kirk
Yep.
Cousins had a good week or something. This is a really fantastic way you guys built out this project, man.
Yeah,
I'm
for sure.
I'm incredibly stoked to have a little bit of your time. I think you know what, dude. I'm gonna let you go. We'll wrap up now because I know the game's starting soon, and I gotta set a few more lineups.
Yeah, for sure.
But I appreciate you tremendously, man. This has been a fun convo, and I hope we could do this a few more times. Maybe just talk sports overall.
For sure. Looking forward to it.
Awesome, man. Have a great day. Thank you, guys.
Thanks everyone for hanging out.
Bye bye.